All right, we're live. Welcome back to our daily live feed. As you're logging on, if you'd like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. Samantha is on here and ready to go with the comments. I love it. When you get logged on, make sure that you comment, say hello so I know that you're here. If you're coming on Instagram, you can watch on Instagram. That's cool. But we don't have screen sharing on Instagram. We have screen sharing over on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you don't know how to get to our YouTube channel, just hit the link tree on Instagram and that'll take you. There's a drop down there for our YouTube channel. So go check that out. What's up? Aurelia, Shawana is here. Say hi when you log on. We have shows to wrap up today. What's up, Lexi? Congratulations on your competition this past weekend. What's up, Amanda? What's up? What's up? And as we're waiting for everybody to log on, QR code right here for my website. So if you need suits, hair, makeup, posing, any of the fun things when it comes to competing, that's what I do. This QR code right here will take you to Sean'sCoutureCuties.com. Right there. What's up, Amanda? Noah, what's up? I'm all jacked up today. It's been a good day. It's been a good couple of days, actually, getting caught up on work and everything like that, too. Made me laugh because this whole weekend I was unavailable. I was doing shoots and stuff, but I had all of the girls sending me videos and photos from all the pro shows. So I had girls at every show. So they were all sending me all the pictures and videos and everything too. So that was pretty awesome. I was like, all right, I got plenty of footage to study when I go home. Plenty of footage to study. So let's see. What do we got going on this week? Yes, happy Tuesday. So coming up, we have Masters Nationals next week. Prior to that, this coming weekend, we have a Sundays with Sean. Yeah, it's pro debut week for Brandy. Brandy's getting on stage. We'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. But one of our Pro Performer Promise winners right there, Brandy Lewis Reed, is going to be getting on stage this weekend. So what's up, Devin? Yeah, the Republic of Texas looked like a fantastic show. They do a really good production on everything there, too. So that's pretty awesome. So let's see. We've got Masters Nationals next week. Then we have Clash of the Titans here in Virginia. Is it a week after that or 2 weeks after that? I don't even know. Then we have Tampa. So I will be there for the entirety of the Tampa show. I've always mentioned this because they put Masters pros on Thursday. So I already have a couple of girls doing Masters, so I'll be there on Wednesday. So I bring that up because I know some hair and makeup artists don't go in until the actual pro show days. So I'll be there if you guys need anything for Thursday. Also photo shoots and stuff like that too. I have some girls that will hire me for makeup for photo shoots while they're there. Devin is on here. Devin is doing Tampa. Devin's got Tampa on the horizon. That was the first show that she did that got her qualified for the Olympia. So yeah, should be. Let's see if we can repeat. Right? What else? The Nashville Fit shows right after that. So again, hair and makeup slots open for that too. And then I was also going to mention, I've mentioned this a few times. If you're at a show that I'm at and you want to book posing with me, you can. You don't have to even be competing in the show because typically when I'm at shows, I do have time to be able to squeeze in some posing sessions and stuff in person. So even if you're not competing, if you're just going to be at the show and you'd like to actually do a posing session with me, please hit me up. I'd be happy to do that for you. We can always find time to do that throughout the weekends. What else? I feel like I'm forgetting something. I think that's everything with show stuff right now. And we got North Americans coming up after all that. Cuties Conquer the Stage stuff is coming soon, you guys. Pay attention because it is going to be launching very, very soon. Very soon. We're doing it early. We have some really fantastic speakers and sponsors this year. I can't wait to show you some of the new stuff that we have coming this year. You guys are going to love it. Like we're covering topics that all of you have wanted to cover that we've never covered before. So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be awesome. So, Devin out here showing up and showing out. Let's go. Yeah. Right. All the cutie community. Yes. So tonight we're going to wrap up, Patriots and Republic of Texas. I've got a few things to say about Republic of Texas. We're going to go into Patriots first and kind of talk a little bit about that and go through the top five a little bit. And I want to also say something about this particular show as well. So Ashley Cotwasser did win it. This was her 40th win, I believe. So let's just start with that. And in my opinion, I felt like she kind of won it pretty handedly. I think this one is Patriots, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I don't think anybody was really even close to Ashley in this particular show. And I say that on purpose, as a good thing. And this is why I say this. Okay. So, we've talked about the fact that Ashley competes a lot and she wins a lot of shows and things like that. And what that actually does is it deters some pros from competing against her. We all know this. This is not news. A lot of girls that are trying to qualify for the Olympia don't want to go up against Ashley because they just assume that Ashley's going to beat them. Let's just put that out there, right? Now, Ashley's not unbeatable. She has been beaten several times this year already. So, there's that, right? But what this does do, and what I've noticed over the last, year or two, is if everyone knows that Ashley's going into a show, the seasoned pros, the pros that actually want to qualify for the Olympia, tend to not go up against her, and newer pros do. So what that actually does is it helps some of these newer pros get noticed when they otherwise might not. Sometimes all you need to do is get on stage to get noticed, right? So the girl that took second to her, what was her name? Ashley. Yeah, I was gonna say Ashley, but I didn't want to say Ashley. Now, Ashley actually placed 4th earlier this year. Let's see. And before that, it was 7th. So it wasn't like she was placing bad, but this is a 2nd place for her. She placed 4th at Charlotte Pro. She's definitely improved her looks in Charlotte, from what I can see from the photos anyway. But what this does is this shows that she is capable of standing up next to Ashley, right? I don't know if anybody's ever talked about her before. I don't know if, we've kind of wrapped up the Charlotte Pro, and I know we've mentioned her during the wrap up, but she was never really on the radar. And now she's going to be, right? So I think one of the things that people are overlooking about the fact that Ashley competes a lot is it gives girls like this Ashley, the new Ashley here, an opportunity to shine and get up towards that top rank, right? So my advice, if you are a relatively new pro and you're thinking about competing, don't look at somebody like an Ashley Kaltwasser as a problem. Look at her as an asset. Get yourself up next to her, right? Use her success to help you get noticed. Make sense? I think it does, because I'll be honest, a lot of the girls here in this show, I'm not super familiar with in the top 5, but they got a top 5 now. And now I'm looking at them. I wasn't looking at them before, but I am now. Right? Right. You'll never know how to beat them if you don't get up next to them. That's right. And what this does is this kind of gives you a little springboard. If you end up placing well, this gives you a bit of a springboard to bounce off of going into your next show. Right? This Ashley right here just placed 2nd to Ashley Kaltwasser, the most winningest pro in the league, right? So again, instead of looking at her as a deterrent, I would look at her as an asset. Use her strength to your advantage, right? So let's go through this since we're here on Ashley Hampton right now. Let's talk about her a little bit. She's got a fantastic look and shape. One of the things that I think was a problem for her in Charlotte is she was over conditioned in Charlotte. She was really hard and grainy, and she definitely came in softer for this show. So I do think that was a plus in her look. Let's pull up her front photo. So she's definitely still very muscular and all that kind of stuff, but she's got a lot more fullness to her here than I saw from Charlotte. Now, taking into account, of course, that the lighting's different, the photos are different, all of those kinds of things. But to me, where I look a lot of times is through the legs and through the waistline. And here I see a lot more fullness. I see a lot more roundness, a lot more pop than what I saw from her photos in Charlotte. So to me, it looks like she took her feedback and she actually applied it here. And that's why she did improve her placing here at this particular show. Overall, I don't think there's a whole lot she needs to change about this front pose. Maybe drop the arm a little bit. But other than that, I think this is a pretty decent front pose. And her shape looks great. I don't know. Again, I don't think there's a whole lot to change here. I think one of the places that she could improve would be in her back shot. So let's take a look at her back. And all I mean by that is just adding some size so that she comes out a little bit more on this back pose. Now, what you're looking at here, you know, the funny part about this is she's got great delts from the front, but from the back, we're missing some of that delt shape. So I'm wondering if that's just the posing thing with her delts, but then also her waistline is just a little bit thicker here. So I would say she needs to kind of grow outward just a little bit on this upper outer glute. And that would really help this whole pose to pop a little bit better for her. I think she had some really good, I think she was in great shape. I think she had some great pop, all of that. I just think if she grows a little bit more glute, that's going to aesthetically help her overall shape as far as making her a little bit more of an X frame, making her waistline look a little bit smaller. And I would adjust the top half of this pose to try to figure out how to get those delts to pop a little bit more. Again, just to kind of enhance that X frame from the back. Overall, I think she dialed in really well for this show. I would say as a critique going forward is just to build some more upper outer glute, just get that shape a little bit better, more of an X from the back. But overall, like I said, really good look. I wouldn't change anything about the suit or the color or anything like that either. I think that's a good color on her. This is a good cut on the backside for her as well. All of that. So I think she's doing a good job here. I think I'll probably just grow a little bit more. But honestly, she came in second here, so I might not want to actually shut the season down yet. I'd probably still keep going, right? Let's talk about third place, which is Michelle Billette. Again, another one that I am not familiar with at all. Let's look at 2022. Yeah, I mean, if you look at last year, she just started competing last year in the Pro League, and she didn't do anything last year. Now she's third place here. So again, she's getting noticed all of a sudden, right? Let's pull up the front pose. The one thing I noticed going through the comparisons is they definitely went for the fuller look here. So if we look at this, this is a good pose. I would probably open this pose up a little bit more. She's got some massive delts here. This just looks like it's a little closed off through her waistline and through her shoulders. So I'd probably open up a little bit more on the upper body and probably kick back a little bit more on the lower body and just open this pose up a little bit. She's just a little too sideways, I think. But again, this could be her best positioning so that her delts don't overpower the rest of her. I don't really know. I'm just going based on what I'm seeing here in this particular photo, and I probably want to open this pose up a little bit more on her. I never like to really comment too much on the coloring of like the tan and the suits and stuff in these photos. I find this a lot with muscle contests is that all the photos look a little bit like greenish. So I don't think this was true to color here. So I don't want to I don't want to comment on the photo colors at all, tan, makeup, suit, all that kind of stuff, unless it's really noticeably bad. You know what I mean? So, she probably needs to be a little bit darker on her tan, but I could be wrong on that. Let's see. Let's go to a back shot of her. Their lighting wasn't the greatest in person either. Yeah. Okay, so here's a back shot. So again, I would probably just add a little bit more size to the glutes here. I mean, this is pretty good. This is pretty full. She might need to be a little bit fuller. She might be a little over conditioned, maybe. She's got some pretty tight drops into her glutes and hamstrings here. So this may be okay. She may need to be a little bit fuller, right? But overall, I think this is a pretty good shape. Again, I would probably just grow a little bit more glute through here, but she's got good shoulder width here. The pose itself, I think, is right where it needs to be. I would probably just try to add a little bit more size, but overall, really good look. And then we have Mia. And again, looking at her, she didn't do anything before this that was noteworthy of placing. You can see here. Last year, she just won her pro card. So she's a brand new pro. So again, she's getting noticed because she stepped up on the stage, right? This one, I have a few things that I would change. She looks a little washed out through the waistline. Not a huge fan of this suit cut or color on her. I would go with something a little bit darker in color. The top cut is too small on her. When it comes to top cuts, you guys, err on the side of being too big versus too small. If it's too big, you can pat it and round it out a little bit and make it work. If it's too small, it's just really it's really noticeable that it's too small, right? So I'm just not a huge fan of this suit. And again, to me, the waistline's really washed out to me here. That could be a number of things. It could be way that she carved up, could be water imbalance. It could be she's getting her period, who knows? But in comparison to the rest of her, it looks pretty washed out. Let's see. And this is, oops, what did I just do? I didn't mean to do that. There we go. And, this is her full front pose. So drop the arm. This just looks really uncomfortable. And overall, I think the flow is just a little bit off here. She looks like she's got huge shoulders in comparison to her arms. So I would probably add some more size on the arms just to balance that out a little bit. Yes, bikini, we want to have shoulders, we want to have glutes, all of those things. But you don't want it to be so pronounced that all I'm looking at is this big shoulder cap on the top of your shoulder, right? So it just doesn't match the rest of your body. You need to have balance, right? So I would add some more size to the arms, to be honest with you. And then, like I said, this pose just needs some work. I'm not a fan of where the foot placement is. I'm not a fan of where the waistline is. There's just a lot of little things here that if she just tweaks this pose up a little bit, I think her physique would show a lot better. And I do think that she needs a new suit cut too. But overall, like I said, she just got noticed. So that's a good thing. Let's see. What did I do? Oh, because I went and put it down for a second. Hold on. Okay. So let's go to a back shot. Okay, so here's the back shot here. And again, what I'm staring at here more than anything else is her delts, right? She's got great delts, don't get me wrong, but the rest of her body needs to catch up to it, right? Her arms look really thin next to her shoulders. So I would add more size onto her arms, honestly. I would also add more size on the upper outer glute. Saw this from the front pose too, from the back pose. She needs some more size up top just to kind of pop that a little bit. But I think this could also be posing. To me, it looks like she's really yanking her back, her upper back towards us. And she just needs to tilt that lower back a little bit more. So I think this pose is just a little off. Again, a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing here with her is posing related. This is a little bit better. She's pushed back a little bit more here. So as soon as she pushes back a little bit more, you see it gets a little fuller. So that's a big note, a big change there, and a big thing to notice if you're trying to tweak your poses too. Watch. Okay, so this was the shot before where she's definitely pushed forward, and then she's pushed back in her pelvis. So there is a significant change there. You can see it through the shadowing in her hamstring and everything like that right here. But I'd still, my critique still stayed the same. I would still want to see more size on her, just in general. Right now, she's got a few really good parts. I'd like to see some more size on her arms, some more size on her legs, that kind of thing, to kind of match those parts, right? Yeah, you're welcome. Glad to do this. I love doing this, the reviews and stuff. So glad you enjoy it. But again, now she's getting noticed, right? So now she's just got to take her critiques and get better from here. I think she competed in a purple suit. This another show recently prior to. Yeah, I saw she competed at one other show prior to this one. Yes, and on her on the sheet here. If you look over here, this is her contest history right here. So she competed in Nevada State. And then last year she won her pro card at nationals. So this is her second pro show. So Marioli. So actually I know Marioli. I did some posing with her back when she was an amateur. She's grown a lot since then. She was she always had great shape, but she was quite a bit thinner than she is now. She's put on some good size. Let's see. And she's another one where I feel like her posing could be a little bit better. She's kind of yanking up on her shoulder here in the back. She's one that needs more shoulders. In comparison to her lower body, this is really light in the shoulder cap area versus the rest of her lower body here. She just needs to balance that out a little bit. Waistline to me looks like it's a little bit too drawn in. She might need to be a little bit fuller. I think, and I'm going to pull up the comparison shots too. And I think if I remember correctly, she just looked a lot more conditioned than everybody else. But we'll see that when we pull the comparison shots up. Overall, I'm good with the suit. Probably would want, again, another one that I would want to see the suit top be a little bit bigger. We're seeing a lot of boob right here. We're seeing a lot of boob right here. Like it's a little bit sus for me. Like we're getting close to showing too much. This cut in the front though is okay. I just would like to see a bigger top on her. Again, when in doubt, go bigger versus smaller on the actual cup size, because you can always pad it if you need to. Let's go to let's talk about Ashley now. So obviously Ashley won this. And like I said, I think she won it pretty handedly. I don't think that anybody was really close to her. So let's pull this up. So one thing I did notice is she looks like she might be holding a little bit of water in the waistline. That could be just her trying to fill out or something like that. But I'm seeing this little pinch here in her lower back with the suit. So either she's holding a little bit of inflammation there, or the suit maybe just be a little bit too tight on her. Maybe. I'm not sure, but I do like the red suit. I've told you guys this before. I like the red suit on her versus the green one for sure. She's one that we talked about with her front pose. Sometimes when she finally gets into it, it's really good. So here you can see actually a difference in what her waistline looks like here versus what it looked like 2 pictures before that, where she was a little bit, oops, I hit the wrong thing again. Dang, hit the wrong button. Where, there we go. Where when she comes too straight on, it's not the most flattering look for her. But then as soon as she twists that hip and gets into the right spot, then everything kind of bees in together. I did see video of her as well. And I have to say, I think that she's come a long way with her posing. Specifically, her walk was a whole lot better at this show than what I remember it being. I think she just finally relaxed. I felt like her walk was a lot better here at this show. I saw one of the reels pop up on Instagram or something. So good job on that. Just relaxing through those. That's a big thing too. I'm going to talk about when we get into some of these wellness girls as well. I think wellness girls tend to overpose quite a bit. So just relaxing and kind of enjoying yourself on stage goes a long way. And I felt like that really showed with Ashley at this particular show, from that video that I saw. Now, again, where she kind of blows people out of the water all the time is from her back pose. You can always make an argument with the front pose for some other competitors, but if she's on and her back pose is on, it's really, really hard to beat. So you can just see the fullness here. I mean, we were just talking about this. She's got the width through the back, and then she's got that upper outer pop in her glutes, which then makes her waistline look small. So she's got that balance from top to bottom. She just has this 3D projection on her glutes that is really, really hard to get. Just genetically, she's really blessed, but also just if she comes in right, then it's going to be hard to beat. Now, something I'm going to show you guys when we look at the comparison shots too, is she has a little bit of oil on her glutes, which absolutely helps. Guys, when you go on stage, make sure that you get the right amount of oil. If you don't have anything back there, you look flat. If you have too much, it can also be a detriment to you as well. You have to have a little bit of sheen on there just to really accentuate that pop and that 3D roundness in her glutes, because that's what she's got going on here. And she's the only one that has that. When I pull up the comparison shots, you'll see that. But overall, I think this is right on with the back pose. The last show that she did, I was actually not happy with the placement of her suit bottoms, but this is better. I don't know if she just moved it down a little bit, but it's definitely hitting her a lot better. I mentioned that on the wrap up the last show, that her suit bottom probably needed to be pulled down like 1/4 of an inch. And that's what it looks like here. It looks like she got it in the right spot here. So let's look at, I think it's this one. Yep. Some of these comparison shots. There's a lot of girls in these shots for this first call out, so it's going to be hard to see on the screen. I'm going to get rid of the chat overlay for a minute, just so it gives you a little bit more space. This was your first call out right here. Okay. So trying to move it up a little bit for myself, and it's just not working. Ugh. Well, you guys can see it. Okay. All right. So anyway, so this is your first call out right here. So this is after they've been moving around a little bit. They're going to move them around a little bit more. But it came down to the two Ashleys in the center, basically. And you can see the fullness, the roundness, all of that. And I'm going to kind of flip through here. And what I want you to notice, something else, we talked about this in our preview. We talked about Ariel right here, right? Ariel placed outside of the top 5. I believe she was 6th. She looks great from the back, but from the front, her pose is off from the front. She sticks her pelvis forward, which actually makes her look really upper body dominant. So I'm not sure why she poses like that. She's been posing like that for a while, and she needs to just tilt that lower back so that she can get that glute to pop up in the back, and she doesn't look like she's all shoulders and back. Not sure why she's posing like this, because I think it's actually doing her a huge disservice to her physique. But let's kind of click through these a little bit. And you can see from the back, she's got fantastic glutes, but they're actually almost overpowering. So that's something else I want you to look at here as we're looking at this back pose. I want to make sure we're in one where everybody's posed. There we go. We're in a pose. Balance, 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 right? Balance is always, always, always important when it comes to these shows, right? Ariel has great glutes back here, but they are overpowering in relation to the rest of her pose. Marioli, I would also say her glutes are overpowering. She has a little bit more of that X frame than Ariel, so it makes sense why she beat Ariel. But I mean, Ariel's glutes are ridiculously good, but they're too much, right? And then when we look at the two in the center here, the two Ashleys in the center, I mean, their glutes are really well balanced with the rest of their physique. Like I was saying before with not Ashley Kaltwasser, but Ashley, is it Ashley? I don't even remember her last name. The other Ashley. She just needs a little bit more size on those upper outer glutes in order to have that X frame that you see from Ashley Kaltwasser here in these photos. But what you'll notice is that the girls that are placing well in this show are all a little bit fuller. They're all just a little bit softer on their conditioning as well. Not in a bad way, in a good way. You don't want to be overly conditioned in bikini. That's not a benefit to you. Being striated and being lean is not a benefit to you in bikini. Okay. So, when we look at this, again, I could make an argument for the other Ashley in the front pose, but when we turn to the back, that's when Ashley Kaltwasser takes over, right? And like I said, Marioli looks good here, but her waistline's a little bit thick, so I'd probably play with this pose a little bit, and she's kind of lacking in the shoulders as well. And like I said, with Ariel is just her pose. It's her pose. I'm telling you, like if she posed differently, she would look so much better if this front pose was a little bit different. This Mia over here. This is Ruth. We talked about her. She looked great. We talked about her in our preview. She looked great. Maya's right here. Maya was a little bit over conditioned for me. Again, another one that looks a little bit upper body dominant too. I'm not sure who this one is. Hang on, I'll pull it up real quick. I've seen her before. I just can't remember her name. Let's see. Rudy? Is that Rudy? Yes, that's Rudy. Yes. And she's just a little bit soft. So, all right. So we're going to click through just a few more of these comparison shots so you can see them. And even here, I'm seeing Ashley does look like she's got a little bit of water on her waistline, right? A little bit of water on her waistline. So that little squish in her lower back with the connector. I mean, maybe she's going into her period. Who knows? Like we talked about before, that could have been what did that for her. But let's see if we can get to another set of back shots before we finish out for the show. And as we're doing this, any questions from this particular show, go ahead and ask. So there's a back shot for you too. I'll pull the chat overlay back up. But yeah, those full glutes are what makes a difference here. So I think that this was the right call across the board in that top 5. And there we go. Okay, so that's Patriots. So now we're going to move on to Republic of Texas. Okay. So we're going to do wellness first, and then we're going to talk about bikini at the end. So Frida did win wellness, which I thought was a fantastic choice. I know there was a lot of controversy, all this kind of stuff online about who should have won this, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to come out and say this right now, and I'm not going to single any particular competitor out. But one thing that I think a lot of people are downplaying, and I'm just going to say it. Injections, site injections. This is becoming very, very common in this particular division. And I believe that the girls are getting docked for having visible site injections of whatever it might be. There's site injections. And I saw it on a number of girls when I was going through these photos for this particular show. I see it a lot. I've seen it a lot. So even as good as their physiques may look, if you have site injections, I believe that the judges are going to be docking you for it. So keep that in mind. 100% the judges have spoken. Yes. Okay, good. There was a lot of talk about that this weekend. Good. I'm glad there was, because I saw it everywhere. It's a real thing, you guys. And here's the thing, you guys. They do this with the men too, right? If the men have site injections, if they look like they put oil in their shoulders or in the biceps or whatever it may be, they get docked for it. Women, you are too. That's it. You could have a phenomenal physique, but if you have visible site injections, I believe they're going to dock you. The end. The end. So, let's go through our top. I'm actually going to do, let's do comparisons first. I saw that Universe one looked like a nipple under glutes. I thought that's what it was. That's too funny. Yeah. So again, whatever they're injecting with, I mean, I'm not going to say what it is or anything like that, but if there's visible site injections, you're going to get docked, right? You're going to get docked. Okay. So keep that in mind. So let's see. What did I do? I think this is comparisons. No, it's not. Okay. So she's fifth, I think. Deborah. Yeah. So this is our fifth place girl. So we're going to go through, this is Deborah. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing these names wrong, guys. Overall, I think this girl has a great look. Love the blue suit. I think it's beautiful. Love that color. It's a nice bright pop. I just think she's a little soft. I think in general, she's got a fantastic look, but a little bit too soft. Not quite conditioned enough. Again, she's got a little bit of that roll in the back here. That's a little bit of water, a little bit of film there. But again, she just needs to lean out a little bit more. And I think this would be a really, really good look on her. Again, I love the blue. Love that bright pop of color, solid color. Looks really good on her skin tone. Let's see if I can find a back pose. Let's see. Yeah. So again, when we're looking at the back pose here for her, great shape, great look, just needs to be harder, needs to be leaner, needs to be in better condition. Honestly, she probably needs a little bit more quad sweep on the outside from the back, but she needs to be tighter in order to be able to see it. If she can come down a few more pounds, get a little bit more body fat off her, she can be really, really good. She can be really, really good. This is a good look. A good look. She just needs to be tighter. That's all. Next, we are going to go to Carrie, who took fourth. Now, Carrie, on the other hand, is definitely very conditioned. Let's see if I can find a good front pose. And, flipping through these photos and stuff, I didn't watch the video on this, so I could be wrong. But to me, it just looks like her posing is kind of all over the place. Somebody that watched it, can you tell me, was she kind of all over the place with her posing? Because the photos make it look like she was. The photos definitely make her look like she's kind of bobbling all over the place. But I could be wrong on that. Go ahead and type in the comments. When I look at this photo, what I see is too much upper body. When I see this, I see the first thing that I see here is I see shoulders. So shoulders and biceps. So I would calm that down quite a bit. I was not a fan. Her posing wasn't great and her RBF was insane. Yeah, I was going to mention the RBF. She didn't smile at all. I was looking through the comparison shots and she did not smile at all. So, okay, posing was sloppy. Again, it looks like, I didn't look at video of this particular, of her, but from the photos, it looks like she was all over the place. Okay. Yeah. Guys, when I can see every little flaw in all of your stage photos, you're doing too much. You're doing too much, right? We don't want to see your waistline pop out. We don't want to see your glutes drop. We don't want to see you come straight onto the judges and look like a box, all those kinds of things. If you're doing way too much with your posing, all of those things are going to get exposed right up front, real quick, right? So just simple, keep it clean, right? And again, when I look at this, the first thing that I see is her shoulders here. So I would really work on trying to tame that down a little bit. I'm good with the suit cut, and I'm good with her lower body, just the upper body. Got to be careful of. And yes, the RBF, 100%. That was something that definitely distracted me, was the RBF for sure. But look at right here. This is a great example. Okay, I'm going to show this one photo right here. This is nothing about this is flattering, right? She's standing there with her stomach is hanging out. Her arms are all off over the place. This is not a flattering look at all. And if the camera caught this, that means that the judges saw it, right? So guys, just be really aware of every angle. Every angle makes a difference, okay? So I just calm it down. Just calm it down. Nice and simple, right? And again, if they're catching this on the camera, then the judges are seeing it. Okay. So just simplify. Let's see if we can get to a back shot here. Okay. So here is the main issue. She is way overconditioned. Striations through those glutes. Suit bottoms are showing things they shouldn't be showing. The pose is showing things that shouldn't be showing. So a lot of this is presentation. Her posing and her suit bottoms, not the best thing in the world here. But also she is too conditioned. We shouldn't be seeing striations in the glutes here, right? That's just too much. So, overall good shape. She just needs to come in a little bit fuller, a little bit rounder, and calm that posing down. Make sure you're covering things up when you've got your suit on. Make sure you're covering things up, okay? Just saying. Anyway, so too conditioned, right? No striations in the glutes, guys. No striations in the glutes. We want full round muscle, okay? Next, we have Tracy Williams. Let's see if we can get a good front pose for her. This one's pretty good. All right. So I actually really liked the fullness and the roundness on Tracy. Now, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Was she a figure pro before? Am I wrong on that? I could be wrong on that. I don't know why I'm thinking that. But again, looking at this, I'm looking at a pretty significant upper body. I like the green suit on her. I think she could do a little bit of a different shade. This blends a little bit with her skin tone. Maybe do a little bit brighter, more emerald, so it pops a little bit more. But I'm okay with it. I'm not mad at it. Overall, this is a good front pose too. I like her conditioning here. I don't know what her critique was as far as her conditioning is concerned, but I do like this level of conditioning from the front here. But again, my eye goes directly to the shoulders. So that's one area I would calm down a little bit for this particular look. Remember, wellness is always supposed to be unbalanced, less mass on that upper half. Let's get to a back shot. You know, she did quite a bit with her posing too, but I'm not seeing like the really bad angles that I saw from the last girl. But with that said, we're squishing the glutes a little bit here as we're going through these transitions. So again, you got to be careful with some of this stuff. I'm going to show this. So you can see the glute squish right here. Got to be careful with swinging those hips too much, or that's what happens. You start seeing things that you don't ever need to show, right? She didn't need to show that. That was just a transition, right? But all of a sudden now the judges have seen that glute squish, right? So got to be careful of that stuff. The glute squish. And then when we get into this back pose, finally, here we go. And now she looks like she needs to be better conditioned from the back, right? She's got some good fullness back here and everything. But as we saw when she went through those transitions, she was squishing quite a bit too, right? So I would say she needs to be a little bit tighter, just a touch tighter. I liked her conditioning from the front. Still could say, you know, she could be a little bit tighter in the quads and stuff from the front. I see that as well. Not as much of a big deal. The glutes it is. The glutes, she needs to be better conditioned. So, you know, she's just a touch too soft here. She came in another pound or two. She'd be good. Good to go. Right? So that's her. All right. Next, we have Renee. So I know a lot of people were really excited to see Renee back on stage. This is the first time back on stage in a while. She took a full year off. There's a few things. Overall, a lot of the stuff that I have critiques about with her are in regard to her presentation. Her posing was very all over the place. Like, it looked really uncomfortable. She needs to work on feeling more comfortable, I think, on stage in general. Whenever I looked at the comparison shots, she was the one that looked like she was in pain, like in her poses. She was over posing quite a bit. So again, going back to, I would say relax a little bit here. To me, her tan was a little bit too light along with the blonde hair. So everything kind of blended. So she's got to do one of two things: either get darker with her tan, which I would do, or change her hair color, which I would probably also do. Yeah, her front pose definitely needs work, 100%. She's lean, and just like you said, Angel, she was leaning too much. And I'm going to pull up the comparison shot so you can see it for sure. She's leaning too much. And she's another one that I think that her conditioning went a little bit too far, because we started to see some skin drop, right? Some skin hanging and things like that. So let's see. And she was another one that just did too much. We're just seeing a lot of poses that we shouldn't have seen, a lot of transitions we shouldn't have seen, like this right here. There's no reason why we should have a photo of you doing this, right? There's no reason why this should be a photo, okay? So when you are making your transitions, you've got to be aware of every angle that you show on stage. Because again, if the camera catches it, the judges caught it, right? Devin, what did she fix for finals? Tell me what she fixed, whether it was her posing or her tan, or what was it? And I would say here too, because her tan is too light, I don't think that the suit popped off her very well either. But again, be careful of your transitions. This should not be a photo, right? I think what happens a lot of times is people look at the girls like Francielli and Issa that can get away with these really crazy routines because they're just phenomenal. Her front pose, okay, they're just amazing, but you're not Francielli, right? So just do what you're good at and just leave it at that, right? So yeah, I think that her conditioning I think she was just a little too dry. I think she needed to fill out a little. We don't see a whole lot of pop here. This looks really hard right here. These little lines that you're seeing from her tan, that's because she has some loose skin back there that when she moves, you can see it, and then the tan gathers in that loose skin. So you got to be careful about this stuff, right? All these little things when we're at this level make a difference. They make a difference. They make the difference between winning and coming in second, you know? So overall, I think she's got a great look, and overall, I think she fits wellness very well. But let me see if we see this stuff. Yeah, we can see it here. Yep. So you can see a little bit of loose skin underneath her glutes, right? And again, going back to, there are ways to hide that. You don't have to do a walk to the back. You don't have to do a walk to the back in your presentation. So if you are afraid that you might drop a little loose skin in the back, don't do the walk. Just make it really simple and go from back to front, front to back. That's it. Be done. So that way the judges don't see all that. Now, eventually you're going to have to walk. When you're in comparisons, you're going to have to walk, but don't shoot yourself in the foot while you're in your individual, right? Just keep it out of your individual. You don't have to do it. Okay. So those are my critiques here for her. I would come back in and fix all those little presentation things. Come in a little fuller, fix your tan, your hair, your suit, your posing, all of it. The whole polish, just fix that. And then we got Frida, who, one of the things that Frida is really good at is the polish aspect of it, right? So when we look at Frida, we see nothing wrong as far as her tan, her hair, her makeup, her suit, right? Everything looks great. Tan color is fantastic. You know, hair and makeup looks great. Suit color looks great on her. The polish is there. That's really, really important. You know, that's really, really important. You know, the things that people critique her on is that she needs more quads, which I agree. She definitely needs to keep growing. She definitely has all that. She's a taller competitor with longer legs. It's harder to get as full as some of these girls, but she's round, she's full, she's healthy looking. I like this look so much for wellness in comparison to some of the other stuff that we've seen throughout the year. I will take this any day of the week and say, okay, keep growing your quads, right? I will take this any day of the week and say, keep growing your quads. I want to see the full round muscle bellies, and she's got them, right? So yes, I agree. I think actually Renee has a better shape overall when it comes to wellness. But when it comes to the total package, comes to the polish, the posing, the overall look, Frida knocked it out of the park in comparison to everybody else, right? So let's go to her back pose. Okay. So like I've said before, I think that where she's going to need to continue to improve is she's going to have to add more size. That's it. She's been doing that. You know, she needs some more size in her quads. She needs more size in her glutes. She needs more size in general. But conditioning level, again, I go back to, this is a fantastic, I'm so glad that this got rewarded as far as the conditioning level is concerned, because it's healthy, right? It's full, it's round, it's feminine. That's what the conditioning level, in my opinion, should be for wellness, right? I don't want to see things overly striated, right? There was a huge difference in her polish versus the others. Her posing and look had people mesmerized. At least I was. I would be too, Kelby. No, man, I saw her video of her posing and things like that, and it was in a completely different league from everybody else. You know, it matters. That kind of thing matters. Like you said, you were mesmerized, right? That's what you want. You want the judges to be mesmerized by you, right? Here's a full pose for you. She was kind of in between on the last one. So here's a full pose. So you can see she's conditioned, but she's not overly conditioned. There's not a striation on this girl's body, not a striation anywhere. We don't want to see striations. That's not what we want, right? Yes, she needs to be bigger. All right, we got it. Understood. We need some more fullness to the quads. Get it. But overall, this package is the best one that was on that stage that day. She did a great job of picking her suit cut too, because I think she realizes that she doesn't have the upper outer glutes that some of these girls have. So she didn't pick a super small, tiny little cut. She picked one that actually made her glutes look rounder, which was smart. You know, all of these things. She doesn't look like her upper body is overpowering her lower body here. She's got great contrast in her tan with her suit, with her hair. You see everything popping. This is the healthy, good wellness look, right? And she kind of reminds me a little bit of Angela. As far as her structure is concerned. She's not one of the bigger girls, right? Some of the best photos I've taken are of her. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that for sure. So again, I like this direction for wellness. I hope it continues. I hope we see more full and round bodies on stage versus dry, hard, strided, depleted. Like those are bodybuilding bodies. These are wellness bodies, right? It's a difference. I was very happy to see this. I was very happy to see this rewarded. I was very happy to see this rewarded. Okay. I do want to show. I know this is getting to be a long one tonight, guys, but I wanted to go through everything because they were important this week. So I wanted to show a few of the comparison photos so you can see the ladies next to each other. Okay, so this is your first call out. So again, you can see it right here. I mean, they're in a transition right now, but right here, she's got her stomach hanging out. This transition or this pose, she's pushing way too far back, all that kind of stuff. So the things we talked about with their individual routines have translated over to the comparisons as well, right? So let's go around a bit and see if we can get a good fully posed pose. They're all transitioning. Okay. And one thing I'll say here too, something that I've been talking about with each one of these girls as well, is while I think that Renee has the better like overall shape for wellness in this particular lineup, Frida has the least amount of shoulders here among these top four. And wellness is supposed to be unbalanced. You're supposed to have more mass in your lower half than your upper half. I think a lot of wellness girls are getting too balanced, right? So you got to be careful of that. I think that was another thing that probably pushed things in Frida's favor here. Let's get through. There's a lot of photos of this show. Okay, here we go. We're getting into the back pose. So again, as we look here, we got striations in the glutes. Frida's nice and full and round. We can see drooping skin here in Renee. And then we see the lack of conditioning here in Tracy. So all the things that we talked about, they're individual, ring true here when we get into the comparisons, right? So this is where the rubber hits the road. But basically, whatever you did in your individual, that's going to show up in the comparisons too. Okay, you guys see all that? Does that all make sense? And if you notice, as I was flicking through this, I mean, Frida's already the only one that's fully posed while everybody else is still moving. Frida's been posed this whole time. That's a polished presentation. She's posed, nobody else is, right? Nobody else in this lineup is posed, she is. That's a huge deal, right? You don't see any flaws on her because she's in her pose. You got to be aware of that thing, that sort of thing. You see the flaws when you're moving. You see the flaws when you're moving, right? So, okay. So I think that's good. I think we beat that horse, but I think this was a good call across the board. And hopefully this will encourage more of this trend towards the fuller, rounder bodies. I like that. Okay. So we still got Bikini to go on Republic of Texas, but we're almost there. Okay, so we're gonna go through these ones. This comparison. Nope. Okay, so Tara ended up in 5th, right? Am I right? Yes, Tara ended up in 5th. She's consistently been in this zone. I've got the same things to say about her as I've been saying about her all year. She's competed several times. She's got to figure out a way to balance her waistline and stay full enough while keeping her waistline tight enough. I think here her tan is too light. She's a beautiful girl. She's got a great look and everything, but the issue is consistently going to be keeping the waistline tight while keeping everything full enough. And I think here it looks like she's just a little bit washed out through the waistline. We're just not seeing it quite right here. Overall, not a bad look, but I'm not a fan of the tan color, and I don't think the suit color really popped off of her very well either. I think she was in blue or purple or something before. I would go back to that. Yeah, the tan is just really light, and I think that's washing her lines out more than anything else. She might have tried to go light on the tan just because she was afraid of being overly conditioned or something like that, but it really didn't do much for her. It actually kind of washed her out. Looks like she needs a whole color, whole coat on, another layer. suit cut is fine, but because she's so light on her tan, it just kind of washed out. Again, back pose looks good, but even here, it looks, because we don't have a whole lot of pop in the glutes going on, she's a little overpowering in the upper body. So again, all of my critiques are the same, really. The biggest thing that I would say that would be different at this show is that she just needs to be a little bit more tan. If she had that, I think she would pop a little bit better. Let's go to the next one, which is Jordan. So Jordan came back. This is her first show back since Olympia. Places fourth. That was really good placing for your first show back. I was impressed with the round fullness in her glutes more than anything else when I saw photos and stuff pop up of her. This is a really good package for her. She's kept with the same suit color that they like her in, all those kinds of things. I might want to try to tweak this front pose a little bit, maybe twist the hip a little bit more. I feel like we want to see more shoulder cap a little bit here, but that could just be the lighting in this particular shot. Because as she's moving, I think we're seeing a little bit better. She's pretty straight on though with this pose, but again, she might have tried it, twisted a little bit more, and it may not have made her glute pop as much. Who knows? I think it's pretty good, but I think if we took this hip and just pushed it a little bit more, I think that might help. Tan color is good. Hair and makeup is good. Again, they love her in this suit color, so don't change it. When you find a suit color you like, don't change it. Be careful of the lower ab distension right here. It's gone now, but just keep that. That's why you got to do those vacuums. That's why you got to hold that conditioning. Make sure those lower abs stay in the whole time. That's all those vacuums. That's what that's for. So we're kind of just rolling through these pictures, but she's keeping it tight as she goes through. Let's see if we can just keep rolling and get into a back shot. I think we probably could. I didn't even realize we could do this. It used to be that you couldn't keep going through. You had to go to the next page. So I would always go back. Yeah, but we can go right through. Cool. All right. So we're in her back pose now. She's got a little bit of tan splotch right here. Looks like maybe she touched it with her hand or something like that. So just be careful of that. But again, the fullness in her glutes at this particular show was really, really good. Probably the best I've seen from her so far. So I liked that. Her tan, as you can see, is just a touch darker than what we just talked about with Tara, which definitely helps. That tan darkness absolutely helps. Just make sure you get a little bit darker. But again, be careful of like this little splotchiness right here. Again, that could have just been somebody putting her glaze on or something like that. We got a little splotch. I would say probably needs to be a touch more conditioned, just a little, because then you have to battle that stay full in the glutes thing and get a little bit more conditioned as well. Probably just a touch more, not a lot, like a pound, right? But overall, really good look coming back, and can tweak from here. And then we've got Adair. So this was actually, I felt like probably the best I've seen Adair look all year. My critique for her the last show was her back pose. Her front pose has improved as well. So I felt like before she was under tilting her pelvis because she used to over tilt. This is actually much better balanced. I think she pushed back just a little bit more, which definitely popped that upper glute a little bit better. I felt like this was probably the best front pose I've seen from her this year. So I did definitely notice that. I felt like her posing was very polished as well. I did see a video of that. I thought her posing looked really good this show. You could tell she definitely worked on it, and it absolutely helped her. She's nice and tight and full everywhere. I think this was one of her better looks that I've seen, just period. Let's see if we can get to a back pose. So my critique of her back pose the last show was that she kind of fell off on the upper outer glute. Here, she's got them popped. So maybe it was just a fullness thing, as far as she just needed to eat a little bit more or something, who knows? Or maybe it was a posing thing. Not sure. But she definitely improved this from DC Pro-Am, because that was my biggest critique of her from DC Pro-Am was her upper outer glute. This is much, much better. Much, much better. Again, I think this was one of the better looks I've seen from her all year, just period. So whatever she did going into this show definitely worked. This was a massively improved glute look, in my opinion, from the back. So really good job here. Let's go to India Paulino. So she's another one that I felt like she improved her look quite a bit from Olympia. But if you notice, she looks kind of overpowering in her upper body here, right? Now, I think she's doing this on purpose in order to make her waistline look smaller. So I think that's the reason why she's pulling out so much here. But in the process, I would say she needs to push back a little bit more on her glutes in order to get that glute to pop up. She's kind of lacking a little bit in that upper outer glute. So maybe open up a little bit, push back a little bit, just change this pose just a touch. Because I'm sure what her critique has been is probably that she needs to get her waistline to be a little bit smaller, which I feel like she looks like her waistline's smaller here. However, she's lacking in the balance from her upper to lower body. So again, I would tweak this pose a little bit so that she can get this glute and shoulder to be right in line, and keep the waistline looking small at the same time. Easier said than done, but I think that that would really help her with her front pose, because what I looked at most with her front pose was the fact that her upper body just looked really big, or wide. Not really big in mass size, but wide. She looked wide. Let's get her to the back. Now, I think she has a fantastic back pose. However, I actually think she's another one that's like Ariel, where her glutes are almost overpowering. They're almost too much. She has those really long hamstring drops, which are phenomenal, but again, it becomes overpowering a little bit. So this is like all glute, right? And then the width in her shoulders, again, just looks quite unbalanced with her lower body, right? This just looks unbalanced to me. So I would probably try to bring the feet out just a little bit more on this back pose. I don't know what else to do in order to change that. Maybe bring the arms down a little bit so that the shoulders don't poke out quite as much, just to try to overall get a better balance here, because we still look pretty thick through the waistline in the back. So I'd probably go a little, like a touch wider on the heels here. And again, bring those hands down just a little bit so that we don't see those delts quite so big on the outside. That's my 2 cents. Because these hamstring, like her genetics of her glutes are just ridiculous. So genetic freak in a good way, just needs to kind of make it so that everything is in line with each other, right? And last but not least, our winner was Lexus. So Lexus looked great. She's one that has amazing balance from her upper to lower body as far as her shape is concerned. And she's always had a little bit of an issue with getting her conditioning to come in right. This show, she got it. So did we get a front pose here? Oh yeah, I guess we can go here. It's her front pose. There we go. So shape is crazy. You know, when we're looking at that upper to lower body with her waistline coming in right here, shape is ridiculously good, right? So where she's had some issues in the past is getting the lower body to be as conditioned as necessary in order to be balanced from top to bottom with her conditioning. But this, she came in just right here. Glam was a whole lot better this show than last show too. I wasn't a fan of her glam with the last show. This is a lot better look on her. So whoever did her glam here did a much better job on her. I am going to flip through to her back shot because we got to go to another page to get to her back shot. And then this is her back pose. So again, crazy, crazy, crazy shoulder to waist ratio down to her feet. But notice how she's got her heels directly underneath her shoulders. So it balances everything and it makes her waistline look teeny tiny from the back. She's got really nice pop in her glutes, upper outer glutes popping, and her hamstring tie-ins are there, but they're not overpowering. This is like right down the middle is what we always want to see. So she got right on with this. This is exactly where she needed to be, and that was enough to get her this win. Here we go. Now she's fully tilted. So you see how she has that drop into her hamstring, but it's not overpowering. This is perfect. This is great conditioning from her. This is the look I think a lot of us were hoping to see from her, and wanted to see her really get to this point. So I think this was a well-deserved win. And I think that it was probably pretty close between her and India, But I think that was the right call. I think giving her the win was definitely the right call as far as balance is concerned from upper to lower body. Last but not least, let's just pull up some of these comparisons. Again, this was a big call out, so you're not going to see a lot of detail in these photos. But this was your first call out right here. So again, just looking at this photo, you can see what I'm talking about with balance across the upper body to lower body. Lexus has the balance. India looks like she's really wide through the upper body and not as wide through the lower body, which I believe she's probably doing that to try to make her waistline look smaller. But still have to keep the balance in mind, right? This was a very, very tough show. It's just, everybody was very, very good. So as you guys know, as I go through this stuff and I'm nitpicking people apart, it really is that nitpicky. And that's how nitpicky the judges have to get, because every one of these girls looks phenomenal. So you've got to pick those little pieces apart in order to find your winner, right? So here's a full back shot. So again, looking at India versus Lexus, India's got those full round glutes, but it's almost too much, and her upper body's almost too much as well. Lexus is just really well balanced, again, from the upper body to the lower body when it comes to that shape and the conditioning. So I think she did great. So questions. Did I miss anything? Y'all got quiet during Bikini here. And I've been going for over an hour. So it's been a long live feed tonight, you guys. Had a lot of things to say. Any questions, you guys? I'll leave it open for another minute or so, and then I'm going to log it off because it's been a long one tonight. So tomorrow we will preview the shows for this coming weekend. We do have Brandy getting on stage for her pro debut, so that's going to be fun. So we'll definitely talk about that. These shows are getting harder and harder and harder as we move along. If you guys have looked at the pro lists and all this for this coming week, they're ridiculous. So here we go, you guys. Here we go. We're getting into the meat and potatoes of the season. It's going to be fun times. Other than that, I hope you guys had a great weekend. Enjoyed yourself. Yeah, woohoo for Brandy. Yes, absolutely. And as always, if you want to come work with me, there's my website right here, the QR code. And it's SeansCoutureCuties.com right there. We do hair, makeup, suits, and posing. We do all of the fun presentation parts. So if y'all need polish, that's what I do. I do the polish part for you. That's what we do. This one kind of blew my mind across the board based off a lot of the predictions, but Lexus was the proof in the pudding. There's a few that didn't even make the top call out that we predicted to win. Yeah, I really thought that this was going to come down to India, India being the favorite going in. But as you can see, if somebody comes in better, that's it. Lexus, if she's on, Lexus is hard to beat if she's on. She's had some issues with conditioning in the past, but when she's got her conditioning on, boom, that shape is hard to beat. She's got a great look, great presentation, great overall polish. It's just bringing that conditioning in just right, which she did. She nailed it here. So kudos to her. Yeah, there's Brandy right there. She's stuck with us this whole time. Even in peak week, she's here with us. Oh my goodness gracious. So excited to see you get up on stage. And with that, you guys, I'll let y'all go because I need to go so I can go eat. It's way past my meal time, y'all. I got to go eat. And we'll be back tomorrow night, 8:15, and we will preview this weekend shows. Like I said, they're getting crazy, and they're going to be crazy all the way through until the Olympic qualification ends this year. So hold on to your hats, you guys. Hold on to your hats. All right, I'm going to log off at Instagram first, and then we'll be off of YouTube, and we'll see you all back here tomorrow night. Okay.